Hello, my friends. You are here in role play today, and today we're going to play with inner and outer space. And I like to think of the inner space as the movement of the fascia, the movement of the fluids in our bodies, the movement of our breath, and our awareness. So it's this marriage of all of these things. Oh, marriage is such a horrible word. I mean, it's cool if you're married and you're into being married, but I don't know. It's very binary, I guess. So, and we're marrying a lot of things together. So it's not just it's fluidity, it's earthy fibrousness, and it's sort of the energy of your body, the electrical energy of your body, the heat of your body. So the heat of your body, the warmth of your body, the movement of your blood, and your engagement in, muscular activities is going to shift the way that your fascia forms, and also like the dense, like the I want to say the density of your fascia, but I don't mean the density. I mean the liquidity of your fascia. So if we're really cold, the fascia is going to be harder. If you think like we have this layer of superficial fascia under our skin, it's covering our entire body except for our eyelids. So there's this whole like skin suit of superficial fascia directly under the skin, and it kind of looks like corn on the cob. Like it's this formy structure stuff, the fiber, and then within that is fat. And so don't be afraid of this. This fat is protective fat. This is this layer that often if people do dissection, they see it and they're like, oh my God, I have to get rid of that. We need to change our feeling about that. This is protection for our whole body. It's also our second, the first layer is our skin, but under that is this layer of sensitivity, sensing what's going on in the world. So when we get warm, that superficial fascia layer softens, and so does all of our fascia. When we're hot, when our blood is boiling, when we're hot inside our body, there is more capacity for movement. That's why we want to warm up before we stretch. Like we might want to do mobility exercises, but we don't want to do like our biggest stretching before our body gets warm. And how do we get warm? By using it. So that's this little fascia bit that I'm talking about. And the fascia is everywhere. It is encasing and moving through our organs. It's the organ of form. It's creating the shape of us. So if I carry a bag on my shoulder and I'm doing this every day for a long period of time, this fascia in my shoulder is actually going to shorten in to help me hold that bag, right? If my body starts to do something, and because it's shortening in here, I'm going to create this interesting cross pattern in the fascia in my body. So one reason I like to wear a backpack on both shoulders, because these things shift our whole way of being in the world. Oh, I'm so excited because I had a lot of coffee this morning. So, let's come down with a couple of breaths. Inhaling up, lifting, and exhale. Letting out some of that extra excitement, maybe shaking some of it out. Inhaling and opening. And as I'm opening into the space around me, right? I am moving my arms in the vertical plane. So the vertical plane, I've got my up, down, and a little bit of side, side. Vertical plane. So there's the outer space. There's the outer scaffolding that's I'm moving in, and it's helping me form my body because I'm in this relationship to the up downness. The gravitational pull of the earth is going to help me understand my verticality. So here's the vertical dimension, just straight up and down. I add some side side, I get the vertical plane. And then if I want to think of the horizontal dimension, I got my side side, can reach to one side, reach to the other. If I move, I have some forward backward, I got my horizontal plane. Yeah, so I can move through that. So when I'm asking my body and my fascia to do these moves in the vertical plane, in the horizontal plane, I'm taking this system of tensegrity and I'm requiring it to do different things. I'm requiring it to engage in being in different ways. And that is very healthy for my tissue. And when I move in these different three-dimensional ways, shifting around from plane to plane, from dimension to dimension, I am requiring more so that the fascia inner body gets this mobility, this movement, and in that mobility and movement, it's hydrating. Okay, so let's also go with the sagittal. Here's the sagittal dimension, forward, backward, like Sagittarius. I can make the sagittal plane. It's the wheel plane. Like a cat cow as I'm seated is in the wheel plane. I can circle up, I can cycle down. So that's the wheel plane. We have our forward, backward, and we add some up, down. It is the sagittal dimension. So I can move around with these. I can reach into diagonals in different places where I mix my planes. So I've got all of them. I can move from plane to plane, very three-dimensional movement. And if I think of really balancing so that one side of my body is going to do as much or it sort of even work as the other side, it's also going to help me be more even in my body. And as I do these things, it's also going to affect my brain. So we're just going to play with this exploration. We are going to get down into rolling with it, but playing with this exploration of the movement of the fascia, the movement of the inner body. It's also our organs moving. Our muscles are like these juicy, wet things, and then the fascia is routed through, holding the shape of the muscle. So if we think, oh, my muscle's tight, it's actually kind of a fallacy. It's more that the fascia containing the muscle is tight. So I'm going to start to let this move a little bit more, and I'm going to just play with the internal sensations of my body as I move around through the space around me. Vast, spacious awareness inside my body, inside my awareness, and outside of me. So I'm connecting this inner to outer through my perception and conception of space. And for me, there's like so many ways of conceiving of space. It could be, how am I paying attention to the space outside of myself? Am I focusing directly into one place, or have I got a global vision? What do they talk about? Spotlight, or there's another word like spotlight or flashlight, or like whole room with all the lights on. There's a lot of different ways of talking about this. And then I can also do that inside my body. Like, oh, I can pay attention just to one place. Like right now, I'm really feeling the space inside my ribs, like my diaphragm area, this sort of horizontal plane inside my body. I can really just focus in on that. Even that's kind of an expansive thing. Let's just go to one place. I'm just going to focus in. It's so easy to find it when you have an injury. On this injury right here, I have this little injury in my shoulder. So I can bring my awareness, pinpoint it right to that. Ah, and hello. Hello, little injury in my body. How's it going today? It's going pretty good. It doesn't feel very much. So that's one of the things when we are injured, it usually brings us into more relationship with ourselves. And it might be that we're angry at ourselves for getting injured or, oh, angry at this pain. But maybe we can find a different way of relating to it, a way of going, oh, you need some attention. Let me just give you some attention. And let me be kind and generous to myself as I do that. Yeah, so letting yourself play, I'm going to take it all the way down onto the floor. So initially, the idea of role play was to really roll around, hydrating fascia, letting your body explore space in different ways. Yeah, so really three-dimensional work. This is a cat toy I have come across in my explorations on the floor. Ah. And so often, like we learned how to move by watching our parents move, watching other humans move. And maybe it might be that our parents were not necessarily the most talented movers or even flexible movers. Like they may have holding patterns in their body that then we took on the same material, the same holding pattern, like the same, I'm going to close and close my chest, or I'm going to really pop it out. Like people have different patterns, and we usually end up in relationship, pretty close relationship to what has been in our body. And we may be in relationship in opposition to what we've seen, or we may be in harmony with what we've seen. Like, oh, that's how I should move, that's how I should look. And this is not happening on a conscious level often. Sometimes it is, but most of the time it's just the subconscious level. Letting yourself renegotiate the inner and outer space or your relationship with the inner and outer space. Yeah, and you can be as curious and exploratory as you want here. It doesn't have to look anything like what I'm doing. Hmm. Ah. Slowing down or speeding up. So one of the most beneficial things in movement that I have come across is inquiry practice, which is really the heart of continuum movement. And we're in the inquiry practice with continuum, you're not goal oriented looking for anything. You're just going in to see what is there. And you're also trying to renegotiate, or not renegotiate, that's not a good word for it, trying to keep seeking novelty in your movement. So, with that kind of novelty seeking, it means that as soon as you recognize that you're going on a pattern, then you want to change the pattern and go somewhere else. So as soon as you've noticed, like, oh, I have, like, you've got that predictive processing going, and you're like, here's where I'm going to go. This is what I'm used to. Change it. Go somewhere different. Feel a different place in your body. Tune into something else. Slow down, speed up, change the space you're moving in, internally or externally. Have you been up and down lately? Have you been side side lately? Have you been forward backward lately? Have you enjoyed any spiraling? Or any deep breath? What would be so delicious for your body right now? Tune, tune into that. Total freedom, total permission, total acceptance. To express in whatever way feels most delicious, most nourishing. Yeah, taking all of this stuff in as movement nutrition. And the inquiry is, what do I feel? What's it like over here? And what if I go over there? It's like if we imagine that our bodies are these landscapes. What is happening over here? Look at this little cave, and maybe there's a tunnel over there, and there's a vast field and an ocean over here. And this part is just full of the sky. So allowing yourself to play with the imagination, the internal environment, the external environment, just letting anything come up that's interesting and following it. Really non goal oriented being with yourself in the space. With this dance between the internal sensation, interoception, movement, proprioception, with the outer, sensing the gravitational pull of the earth, and really thinking of these three dimensions as physical support for you, for your movement. Here, we've got this icosahedron. Like, this is kind of like if we imagine that the fascia in our body was made up of tons and tons of structures like this, and then it could pull and shift. So it's not always going to maintain form, right? And inside our body, like, the fascia is then going to be able to shift its connections. There's a really great um, movie by Jean-Claude Gambertal called Strolling Under the Skin. And in it, you can see how the fibers of fascia are incredibly fluid and they're shifting relationships all the time. So we want to give our bodies that possibility, that extra life force of movement. Leaning into, breathing into the three-dimensional nature of our bodies, of being human. I'm going to add music. So, yeah, let's try this one. I'm not really, no, let's go with this one. This is Jeff Gersh. Letting the music bring you more space. And then notice, is it inside of you? Is it outside of you? Maybe it's both. Maybe you can really feel both. You could think of pouring yourself around, trusting that your form will hold as you pour the water in your body around. Allowing yourself, like when you slow down, you can really come into awareness. Really coming into that somatic, parasympathetic, rest and digest, soothe and settle nature. Feeling into that. So tuning into your nervous system. Am I in the calming part? Or am I in the like excited building up part, the sympathetic? Am I down regulating and coming in to soothe, settle, digest, process? Or am I up regulating, maybe getting ready to go into action, do things, charge around? We can make these shifts very quickly back and forth. And we can come into that even place in the middle where we're just kind of in a homeostasis of neither up nor down. And maybe there's some little tiny micro movements underlying the big macro movement. Or maybe there's some big macro movement overlying the tiny little micro movements. Letting your awareness shift from that tiny little micro or scale out to the big macro scale and then back again, bringing your awareness on this sort of ride. Gathering in whatever resources you need in your body today and letting yourself scatter out the stuff that you don't need. Oh, don't need that, don't need that, don't need that. Oh, but I'd like some more of this. Get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. As we take our time moving into these awarenesses, sometimes we find holding patterns that we can let go of. Go, oh, there's a tension there. Maybe I don't need to hold that anymore. Maybe I can soften that. Sometimes it takes years to soften some of those tensions. And sometimes it just disappears like that, and then you don't even notice it. And then suddenly you're like, wow, that thing isn't bothering me anymore that used to drive me crazy. That pain is gone. That restriction is gone. Breathing, letting our bodies move in whatever way feels good. listening in. Do you listen to your body when it speaks to you? Ah, that's not a huge thing in our culture often to really listen in and honor what's going on in our own bodies. So at least for this time while we're together, let yourself really honor that. Oh, I don't want to move, or I want to move more, or I just want to lay here and breathe, or I don't want to focus on my breath at all. Honor what's coming to you, what's coming in you. Yeah, so I'm getting into this touching, self-touch, my legs. Hello. If you do get into some self-touch, see how deeply you feel that. Is it just on the surface? Can you feel it underneath? Are you feeling it in your skin or in your fascia? Or is it all the way down to your bone? Are you feeling into your organs? Hmm. And it's a two-way street. You're feeling in and you're being felt. So what are your hands feeling? I'm feeling the surface. I'm feeling a little deeper. I'm getting into the muscles or the bones. If we learned how to touch each other or how to even touch ourselves in like gentle, loving, kind, acceptable, compassionate ways, the world would be different. But we can do it with our own bodies. We can find that place. I can come in. I can enclose myself. Letting myself spoke out, reaching out, throwing some tentacles out into the world whenever I feel like I need to. My own human resources, my own embodied resources, breath, feeling the flow of my energy, feeling the rhythms of my body. Offering myself the chance to let go of whatever I need to let go of. Gently release. Surrender the tension. Let it go. Lay it down. I'm going to play one more song. This will be Michelle Aiello. The song is called The Bone Flower. So let your bones flower, whatever that means to you. Sometimes we talk about this idea of cellular breathing. Let your cells breathe. They're doing great work in your body. So maybe some cellular gratitude, feeling grateful for those cells in your body. Hmm. Especially if you have areas that you're doing battle with, maybe you can be kinder and just give that area some gratitude. Include it in being you. Include it with some compassion, with some love, with some generosity, with some gratitude. Ha. Oh, gotta bang in here quickly before the song changes. Let's just take a few minutes of being with yourself in your own experience. So, resting in the silence of your own experience, resting your awareness or resting in your awareness. If that includes movement, that's fine, or stillness. I'm going to stop recording. So, thank you, all the people in TV land, for joining today.